no, it's like I try to, when you got people first starting out with you, I mean, the best thing to do is put them on a machine that's really not worth a whole lot of money. Because if it does break, I mean, it's easy to replace. Yeah. But at the same time, too, you got to think people who are coming into this industry and they buy the cheaper equipment, it's because they don't have the money for the expensive stuff yet. So say, for instance, you're right in the middle of a paint correction or a polish and your machine goes down and you're on a deadline. Like, I just wish that they made these machines a little bit more durable for the people who are starting out until they get to the point where, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and make that. I'm gonna make that purchase. I'm gonna go out and buy that roof so I can have something a little bit more reliable. Then you can take that little polisher and set it in the back, just in case, hey, I don't feel like swapping out pads. I'll set this one up for my second step. Or I'm going to pass this down to another person whenever they start polishing or whatnot. Because I'm telling you, man, I still have that same the same electric Chicago I've had since I started detailing.
Hey, what's going on? You are listening to the Detail Spot podcast. My name is Dustin. I'm the host of this podcast. And in this episode, we have on Eric with Lumberjack Auto Detailing in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We've had Eric on in a previous episode, and I consider him a good buddy now. And we just have a lot of fun just chatting and really just sharing experiences, sharing stories, and really just talking all about detailing. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and let's get it.
Get there. But like, I learned on a high speed. Like the first polisher I ever picked up was a Dewalt high speed.
And that's the only thing that actually makes, like, detailing's pretty easy. Like, it is a pretty easy, having that attention to detail, like,
that's the hard.
It is the hard part, but like, everything is easy. Like, dual action is super easy. You can't really hurt anything. You can if like the paint was already messed up, but like the paint itself, if it's supposed to be the way it is, like, can't really hurt anything with a dual action. But having that fear in the back of your head with a rotary, like, that's what makes it hard. It's like that's what separates, bro.
That butthole, that butthole feeling when you squeeze like a corner. I swear to God, I'm telling you, man, if you stop moving, like, you instantly have to pull the polisher away. Like, fuck God, I did not burn through that damn clear. It's terrifying. Using a high speed is terrifying. Like, my wife knows how to use it, but she hates using it, and I hate using it. Like, I like the one side on the boat I did with my my millie, because the millie kind of replicates forced rotation. Yeah, it's kind of like a new age polisher, a buffer. So I was getting really good results out of the millie, but it was just taking forever. And then I went to the other side. All right, man, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna pull out the high speed on it. I don't want to use the high speed on it, but I'm gonna try. Yeah. And I just took some Sonax Cut Max for gel coating. Yeah. Threw it on a cut pad, and I swear to God, through the eye in a fraction of the time. But like the methodical, like, attention paying you have to do when you're fucking with a rotary. It's like open heart surgery. Like, one mishap, I'm repainting a boat. Yeah, like, it could possibly put me into debt repainting a boat. So you got to be really careful. And like, I mean, dude, running a rotary machine is like the blacksmiths of the world. Like, how many people do it anymore? Yeah. Like, so you gotta definitely a lot of attention when it comes to a rotary.
And I will lie, like,
I mean, it's fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun. And I'm not the greatest with it. Like, I will use it and have used it. And like, if it ever came to like the paint was just absolutely trash, like, that is the quickest way to mow it down. But I don't finish off with the rotary. Like, that's one thing that, like, I'll get it to a point to where it's marred, and then I'll actually pull out the dual action. Yeah. There's some guys that are like the same way. Yeah.
I won't finish an entire car with a rotary.
Hell no.
It's just, and honestly, man, with the heat, like, if you're somewhere where it gets hot and you're working with in the heat, that machine is going to be extremely hot. Yeah. So, I mean, there's quite a few polishers that I use that I have to actually set down for a good 15-20 minutes to cool down, because like, it's just alone touching it is already hot enough. Yeah. And with the friction that you build up with a rotary machine, that's just, shit gets hot.
It does.
You're surrounded by the heat of the environment. You got lights on you. And we use those, like a Craftsman halogen light, and which is a awesome light, shows off everything. But yeah, it's just like you got to be really careful with a rotary, because if you tear something up, there's no fixing it. There's like you know, I mean it's pretty idiot proof to screw up with a DA. Or you know, but using a high speed, like there's so many factors that go into it that one wrong move, like I was training somebody on like an old used hood, and you could just tell he hung out on that body line for just too long. And then as soon as he pulled up, all you saw was white because it had gone down the base coat. What is that? I was like, dude, there's no paint there anymore. It's gone. It's like, you ruined it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Good thing it was an old hood.
And see, that's exactly. So like, I'll have my guys practice on their stuff. It's like, if you tear up your car, it's your car. Like, and I'll give you the right idea on how to do it. If you tear it up, that's obviously on you. It's your job, you know, it's your car. But yeah, anytime we're working with any kind of like rotary or like a heavy cut, or we're doing like wet sanding or something like that, and I'm training them, it's always on like a used fender, door, hood, or even like a scrap car that someone's really not concerned about tearing up. So you get a good idea of what you're working with and how paint kind of reacts to different things. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, rotaries. That's exactly what me and the wife started working on. Like when I first got into detailing, because I started off at Valley here in town, the Volkswagen dealership, and I started doing headlights a lot. So I had noticed that like when they wet sand everything, it still had that cloudy haze to it, and it just didn't look good. And then of course you would spray the clear over top, but the clear to me never really lasted like it should. So I got into using the high speed to actually polish the headlights like completely clear. And then I would put wax over top of it to try to help keep it clear, because that was before ceramic coating was a thing. So now what we'll do is we'll just completely sand down the headlights. And I mean, I'm starting at, 600 all the way up to like almost 5,000 grit sandpaper, like to make sure the light is, even without getting polished, it's still clear as fuck. Like it's crystal clear. And then we'll put our max coating on top of it to help keep it, from yellowing again. And so far so good. Like we've never had an issue out of it. But like using the rotary machine, unlike say like I said, a Tacoma headlights, it's like the easiest plastic to work with, because they'll cut without you having to wet sand. They'll just straight cut, and it'll get back to really clarity, like real clear headlight. And then we'll go ahead and cover it with ceramic. But so far so good. We've never had an issue out of it. But that's where I first kind of learned how to use the headlights. It's such a tight area that you have to be careful with it. And then
if you don't, like the bumper sometimes on some of them sticks out, and that backing plate will smack that. I've done that before, not gonna lie. But
so I like the pads where it actually rotates, like it comes up off the backing plate, so you have like a lot of like movement
leeway.
Where you can kind of like turn the polisher on its side. Those are some of my favorite pads for that. But at the same time too, like I double layer like any kind of tape. Like we'll tape off around just in case you do hang out in that one spot for too long. We're not burning, painted areas around the headlight, and we're definitely not burning a headlight either. When I first started doing it, I burned quite a few headlights.
First thing I've ever burnt was a headlight. It turns orangish brown. You're looking at it, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. And then you got to try to wet sand it again to try to blend it out. But honestly, once you get that little moon shape on the headlight, there ain't shit you're gonna do.
Hell no.
It's burned. It's plastic.
I tried wet sanding that bitch out, and it wasn't coming, man. And the good part is like headlight such a better thing to learn on anyway, because you replace a headlight versus getting a full repaint. You know what I'm saying? It's like, thank God, it's $150 worst case scenario versus God, what's a fender cost to get repainted nowadays? Like $500-$600.
Like, like we adopted like this new thing where like, if customers come in with a motorcycle or something like that, it's got like saddlebags on it. I actually have them remove everything. Yeah. Like at this point, like I don't want to be responsible for anything. So if I can get the customer, like we had a guy come in here who wanted, it was on a Ford F-150, had acid rain everywhere. Every single window had acid rain, and which I'm pretty decent with removing acid rain. It's kind of like one of my specialties. I like it.
Yeah.
Like you can use like the quad zero steel wool to kind of break up the surface of the acid rain, and you can use like a I like using McGuire's like scratch removal polish, because it's pretty on the glass, so you don't have to really worry about it damage it.
Yeah.
Or you got Ceraglass, so you can use Ceraglass with like the window cutting pads, in which to me that it doesn't really work out for me. My wife gets really good results out of it, but it's like kind of like detailer's preference, what works for you. But yeah, he brought his truck in and I had him remove the actual like camper shell. I helped him move it off the truck though, but I was like, look, I'm not going to be responsible for removing this thing. So I drop it, or it slips, I bust a window, I crack some glass. I don't want to be responsible for it. So I was like, man, just, hey, I'll help you take it off. We'll set it on some tables. It took about a good day and a half to cut all the acid rain off of it. And then, of course, we coat it with the System X glass coating. And, dude, it looked fucking mint.
Yeah.
Looked good.
That's the thing with stuff like that. Like, I remember we had a guy that had 2 brand new, like, Street Glide bikes, like the Harley Street Glides or whatever. And, they have those painted, color matched saddlebags.
Yeah.
And like bikes are not my specialty. Like I bought a bike one time and like for a summer fun thing, and like I learned how to ride it and like sold it right after that summer, just because like they're not like to be honest, I'm scared of shit whenever I ride it. So like I don't know the ins and outs of a bike, so like that's not my specialty really. So like he pulled both of these bikes in. I actually made him drive them into the bay too. Like I wasn't even comfortable enough driving his bike in, and he pulls them in. And to take these saddlebags off, like it's pretty easy. It's like a cord, like it has the lights that go to it, but like it was pretty easy. But I was like, the whole time my guys are working on that bike, I'm like bugging, because if they accidentally tip one of those saddlebags over, your day's ruined. Like so
I had a customer, and which is a really good customer of mine. I mean, it come back multiple times. Really good customer, but this is why I adopted that saddlebag rule where they remove it and then they put them back on when they come back in.
Yeah.
It's because he had these weird like push in pop clips that like turn like 90 degrees. And now, mind you, I put his saddlebags on and he rechecked them. And I thought everything was good. So he left. He called me like an hour later and said that he had lost a saddlebag on the highway. I was like, fuck, dude.
Oh
damn.
My God.
I was like, and it was like a rare colored paint. Like, I think it was a Road King or something like that. I don't know what it was. Can't remember. But the saddlebag, I was like, all right, man, the best thing I can tell you to do is like, look, I was the last one to touch them. Like, I'll accept full responsibility for it. Being super transparent with the customers, let them know you got nothing to worry about. And I told him, I was like, look, just go to Harley, get an idea of how much a saddlebag would cost. Dude came back with an $870 bill. I was like, fuck, dude, that was the most expensive saddlebag I could have hooked up on. And luckily he was like, look, man, he's like, look, you were super transparent about it. You were honest about it. You didn't haggle me. You didn't tell me it wasn't your fault. You accepted responsibility for it. Give me $400. I'll go ahead and shell out the other $450 and we'll call it even. I was like, bet. All right, cool. So it was a shitty check to write, but at the same time, too, it's like when you're honest with your customers, they respect you more.
Yeah.
And rather than trying to pull the wool over their eyes and be like, that wasn't me. That must have been there before it got here, and you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Man, best thing to be is honest. Like I tell my guys, like, look, you fuck something up, just come tell me you fucked it up. That's the same way I treat my kids. If you do something wrong, just be honest about it. And trust me, like we can move forward rather than sit here and trying to beat it out of you. Just be like, hey man, did this, is this what happened?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not what happened.
Because then you can be proactive. If you know up front, like it's like, hey, I know, like I had this guy, it was a second week in, and his second week there, he's pressure washing this Chevy, this blue, like a 2017 Silverado, and like GM paint's just dog shit anyway, but like and more than likely it probably did have like clear coat shipping, just because I've never actually had clear coat just run off of the paint, but like essentially he was pressure washing this truck and a chunk of clear coat just comes off the door. So like the blue is still there, but it's just got a big chunk missing. And he's like, nah, man, like it was already there like that. I'm like, dog, like we did a pre-inspect on this truck. Like it wasn't there, you know? And I had to tell this customer, and like, that is the worst feeling ever of saying, hey man, like you trusted us. We thought we were the best, but we just fucked up your truck. Like, you know, and he was cool with it though, actually.
Dude, but I'm just saying,
$1,000 later, but
I mean, it's just a hard pill to swallow, but it's a good lesson learned. And it's because you can adapt what happened to you into further details to where it doesn't happen again. So now, if anything needs to be removed off of a vehicle, unless I personally know this customer, we did a 95 Civic, and which is a good friend of mine's car, and we had to remove his wing from the trunk. So we went ahead and popped it off. I mean, in which I'll be able to do that because I know this person personally. Like we're a different relationship rather than just being like customer and detailer. We're actually friends. So like in that aspect, it's easier to get away with stuff like that. But especially like if it's like a new customer and you know you have to remove a wing, I want them to be present while we're removing it. Like, look, don't mind sticking by before we do before we start digging into it. I'd like to go ahead and remove the wing while you're here, because if there's anything that we need to be concerned about, we can tackle it now. Or if anything gets broken, if anything gets tore up, we can of course assess the situation. Because we had a saline in here, and the way that someone installed that kit, they used I don't know what kind of bolts they used, but they were rusty. They were terrible. So I gave him the wrench because I went to go try to pry the bolt loose and it just wouldn't pop loose. When he pries it, snaps the bolt head off. I was like, okay, hey, your bolt head, your wrench. So therefore,
you saw it.
You saw it. I told you it wasn't gonna budge. And he puts muscle into it and snapped the bolt head off. But luckily we extracted that bolt and put a new one in. But it's just kind of like one of those things where I don't want to be stuck there kind of holding the responsibility of it at that point. Because I mean, shit will go wrong. Hey, Newton's law will go wrong. Like it'll happen. You just have to be proactive about it and be able to be like, hey, you know what, we screwed up. It's just one of those things, and we'll fix it. But like a customer had come in here the other day, we just did a full prep and a ceramic on a 2022 like Badlands Bronco, fire ass Bronco, beautiful. And they took it to Moab, so they were from North Carolina to Utah. And took it off road. They beat the hell out of that truck, and he brought it back to us, and we did like the full wash on it, make sure the coating's good, all that other stuff. And it did like a full interior on it. But he gave me this sticker that he wanted installed on like the little elevation of the hood. And we went to go apply it. Well, it wasn't like air channel type vinyl. It was just cheap Oracle stuff. And he was really adamant on trying to install it. Well, we got it laid down, but it had a crap ton of air bubbles in it because there's just nothing you're going to be able to do about it at that point. And it had a bunch of wrinkles because I guess it sat on the shelf at someone's shop for, a prolonged period of time. So there's like a couple wrinkles, a couple things we just couldn't get by. So I called him and told him, I was like, look, man, I was like, I don't know how much you paid for the decal. We tried to install it. It really didn't work out. It's just crappy vinyl, old vinyl. And he was like, man, I paid like $70 for it. I was like, all right, man, what I'll do is like, since we try to install it against my better judgment, I just want to get it on the car for you. I'll just go ahead and deduct the $70 off your bill. It is what it is. If you can find a better vinyl, bring it back to us. We can lay it, but it's got to be at least 3M, Avery, air channel release. It's got to be a higher quality type vinyl. Cause if not, you're going to get stuck with this low quality vinyl. And I can install it, but I can't necessarily say it's going to look perfect. And which, if you drop it off here and you want it perfect, I want to get it as perfect as possible. So just try to give me the proper, high quality type stuff you can get for us to give you like a high quality type turnaround. But I called him to let him know what was happening. I was like, man, it's just crappy vinyl. There's really nothing we can do about it at this point. So he was pretty accepting about it. He said he paid like $70 off Amazon for it, and which to me is a little expensive. I told him, I was like, man, the best thing to do is go on a couple, forums for Broncos and see what other people are using and kind of go off what they're doing. Someone's obviously ran into this before we have. So just try your best just to, get a better quality type stuff. And that goes back to everything in the detailing world. Use high quality stuff at this point. Doing like high quality tint, wrap, PPF, vinyl, high quality chemicals, stuff like that. Just spend the extra money, make sure
even tools like I remember we have like where my business is at, like we have it's a truck that comes by and he has like bulk chemicals to like almost like a Snap-on type of vibe to it.
Same here.
Yeah. And so like my buffer, we have 3 roops, but like roops, the bad part is you have to send them off, get them fixed and repaired.
Yeah.
Well, like my roops were like at the end of their, they're at the point, like I had the first model of roops. And so like, that tells you how old that one machine was and it needed a new cord. So like we're sending that off. And like, so our last roops, we had a correction in, we only had that one buffer. So we had no backup buffer at that time. And like this D&M pulls up, that's the supply truck. And, I get some chemicals and then I'm like, hey man, dude, like, do you have a buffer? like, like, and I know the shit that he sells would be cheap. Like his products are good. Like his bulk chemicals were good, but like he gives me a Bauer. I think it's even Harbor Freight buffer, man. And dude, I'm telling you, like it worked, but like, and it got me through that job. But just the fact of like, that was the biggest waste of $150 because that bitch broke not even a month later. And I don't think you can even replace the brushes in them. Like,
no. So normally like with Harbor Freight, like, I actually have a Harbor Freight right down the road from our shop. And if you need like some quick tools and they're cheaper, like Harbor Freight's great.
Mm-hmm.
Screwdrivers, some detailing supplies like brushes, the little tiny like pick tools and stuff like that. Their shit's great.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of my guys a Bauer Impact, so we can use it on the drill brush. And man, I heard this horrendous whine, like one of the scariest sounds I've ever heard in my life. I like. So he comes over to me and starts hitting the trigger on the Bauer, and it's making this fucking like high pitched squealing noise. Like I don't know if anyone's ever played I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like a Silent Hill, like that siren.
Yeah,
it scared the shit out of me for some reason. But no, I took it back to Harbor Freight. They looked at my account and they replaced the entire drill for free. So like they have a really good return policy, but like I would never rely on
certain tools.
Yeah.
And honestly, and actually, here's one that like will surprise you. I actually, I used to use the Honda pressure washers. That's what I used forever. Well, I was in a pinch one day and we needed a pressure washer bad. So like, instead of going to Lowe's, spending $800 on the Simpson motor and the, I think you can get either Simpson or Honda, but they're both around that $700-800 price range. Honda or Harbor Freight, you can go buy the motor to the pressure washer, which is like $200. And you can order a pump from Amazon and it's like $100. So you have a $350 setup that's just almost identical looking to the Honda series, and it has the same pump because you ordered it. It's a AAA pump. Dude, I'm telling you, man, like get the year warranty just in case it messes up. But like that's been our go-to, like, and we use it so much to where we do have to buy a new pressure washer motor like every year maybe. But like, what's $200 for, a motor that's going to last you a year? So even that's something that we use every day, but it's like pretty reliable, man. Lasted just as long as the Honda did.
Yeah, I got super into using because when I was at the old dealership, we had a gas pressure washer. That thing, it just seemed like every time you turn around, it's just problem after problem after problem. So I convinced my boss to let's go buy an electric pressure washer. Let's see if that makes any difference. So I ran. We had an electrician come and run a new circuit and like ran the cord and dropped it down in front of the bay. And I fell in love with electric pressure washers. They're simple. They're cheap. Like if something breaks, will you run out and grab another one for like $150-200? And then not to mention too, like if you run the warranty like you're supposed to, you just go back in and just swap it out for a brand new one when it breaks. So it's like I have this constant like just revolving door of like new pressure washers that are coming in.
Yeah.
And it's working out pretty well. Like, granted, good God, sometimes they've, want to turn the water on and they're running a pressure washer. But luckily we got a Lowe's right by. So
let's get the
that's
15 pressure washer.
I'm not spending like $600 on an AR-15 pressure washer gun. I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Hell no. That's cool. It's novelty. It's awesome to have, but I'm not.
Also, what do you guys use? Like the Sun Joes?
No, I use a Greenworks pressure washer.
Okay, yeah, I think they're like the same thing. I think it's like Lowe's versus Sun Joes.
Yeah,
I think they're the same. Those are kind of beasts though.
They're not bad.
If you have a water hookup with actual PSI going to it, they'll last a while.
So basically what we do is like our front lot, we have like a lock on the nozzle because we are down. There's a lot of homeless people that walk around at night, and I've come into the shop and I've noticed that the water was on because the ground's still wet. So I'm pretty sure someone probably took like a hobo shower in the front of the shop, which okay, cool. But we put a lock on there to keep it from happening. We do the same thing in the rear, but we have like a hose that is like wound up outside, but the hose runs inside to the pressure washer. And so everything's inside. So the only thing you have outside is just like the hose. So if someone's brazen enough to just jump the fence and unhook the hose and take a shower, I mean, more power to you. I mean,
you need it bad at that.
You need it pretty bad if you're going to jump a fence and take a shower.
That's the cool thing about like that's kind of like the cheat code to pressure washing though. It's like warranty, man. Like you'll almost never have to pay for another pressure washer, especially with those too. Like those probably, how many pressure washers do you guys, how long will that last?
Maybe like 2-3 a year, maybe.
Yeah.
If that.
And your warranty just covers it.
Pretty high. Yeah. Cause I'll get the 1-year warranty on it. So I know that before the year's up, I can just go swap it out with a brand new pressure washer if we didn't break any in the process. So normally what I'll do is I'll swap one out, but I'll buy a new one. Also put that one on that 1 year. So if that one breaks, I have one as backup so I don't have to go anywhere. And when I have the time, I can grab the broken pressure washer, take it back and just swap it out for a new one. So like I said, like constant, like just rotation of like new pressure washer. And I kind of do that with everything, like the polishers we have. I get the warranties on those. So if those break, I'll go ahead and work out the money, have another one on backup just in case someone needs it. We tried the new, I believe it's the G8.
The Griot's.
Yeah, the Griot's.
Yeah.
It was a pretty decent machine. But I've had a lot of issues with like the trigger button, like the trigger lock.
It's always the little shit on those. Like it's like the Griot's, the Bauer. There's another one, the SPTA or whatever. Those three, man, like I always had issues with like the stupid shit that like that's almost unrepairable sometimes.
The semantical type stuff. The stuff that really shouldn't cause the machine to go down, but it's the little stuff that causes it to go down.
At that point, fix it.
Yeah, it's like they have like these two little side knobs on them to where they push in the connectors for the power, and one of those snapped in half. So I have no other way of using this machine other than trying to just super glue the cap back together and force it on there and running some electrical tape around it to keep it sandwiched so the polisher will work. I was like, good, spending this kind of money for shit that's just going to break. It's kind of useless at this point.
Dude, we recently went to Roops. I really do love Roops. I think like it's a good brand, but when you start having employees and stuff, it wasn't like my cup of tea. And they're having to send things off like, and which all of them I think you do, or some of them like the Griot's. I don't think you can even send it.
I'm not mistaken, I think you can get like a rebuild kit for a Roops, and you can do it yourself. I've seen a lot of
expensive though, man. Like
just refurbishing their polishers and stuff like that. But for the price point of Roops, I mean, shit better not break.
That's what I'm saying. And I went to the Max Shine though recently. Like those, man. Have you tried those yet? I
haven't tried Max Shine yet. We're gonna start moving people up here, like as far as polishes and paint corrections. So when they move up, of course, I'm gonna let them move up with what they have. So I need to get some beginner type polishers for people who are coming in, kind of like learning stuff. And I know we got God, what is that? Torx. Oh my God, I can't stand that machine.
What is it?
Torx.
Oh yeah, the chemical guys spin
I can't
off.
stand it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It is the slowest moving polisher I've ever dealt with. And the digital speed controller, it's barely ever responsive. You gotta, it's annoying. That thing's been hanging up in the shop on one of the hooks for about 2 years now, and I've tried it once or twice, and I'll never touch it again.
It's a piece,
I got
man.
a little knockoff. I call her Betty, little Betty, or Betsy, or her name is. One of my guys named her, and that thing will fucking run, man.
What is it? What's the brand of it?
It's literally just a yellow and black machine. It's not a Dewalt, but this is just like a knockoff type Roops. Like it is a straight, just
Chinese bad
straight
boy
Xerox machine of Roops. But that bitch will run.
Dude, sometimes, man, you get a good, like, you almost luck of the draw, like on those machines, to where it's like, or any tool, it's like straight knockoff. You don't expect it to like just last at all, but sometimes they do, man.
Yeah, it's like I tell people that machine was built on Friday. Like, by a dude that was his first day there. That was his first polisher ever built on a Friday. He used the best parts. He put so much love into it, and it runs like a dream. Any other time you're getting a machine that's built on Monday with shit's falling on the floor, I don't need this bolt. Don't worry about it. Like it'll be fine.
Dude,
but
you'll love the freaking if you ever like want like a go-to though, that Max Shine, it literally feels. I'm not going to say feels, because like Roops is pretty smooth and the quietness of it is there. Like oftentimes, like with the cheaper machines, you run into like how loud and like the vibration. But that Max Shine, they make I guess like a consumer grade and a Pro Series. The Pro Series, dude, I'd put it right there with Roops, man. Longevity wise, everything.
I'll have to get one. I'll have to give it a shot.
It's like half the price.
Honestly, my wife stands behind Roops like more than like she is the big Roops fucking fangirl I've ever met in my life. She loves Roops. Anything Roops.
They're Italian, I think. Yeah. So you got that kind of that.
Now Roops is an awesome company. I'll give it to them. They make a machine, but like not many people are going out spending, $350, $400 on a polisher.
I know.
Because like you do have a lot of entry level people who want, like, a Bauer is the only kind of machine that they can afford right now, or go into advance and buy an Agrias, or buying something like the SDPA off of Amazon or eBay, something like that. So,
and that's cool too.
I wish they would make them a little bit better for people who are starting out.
But the thing is they may last for them because they're not using them as much. So like when you're just starting, it is kind of a good entry level. Like get you a Bauer. Ours only didn't last because I had dipshit working like using it every day, and just, dude, my dudes, I loved them, but like they would come in and they'd be like, "Hey man, I broke the machine again." I'm like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "It fell off the stool and slapped the ground like while it was going." I'm like,
one of my guys has a bad running with stools around here. We try to keep him away from stools as much as possible. We limit him. We fixed it. But I'm gonna give him like one of the little foldable step stools. He ain't allowed to use the big step stools.
I want to take a moment really quick from this episode and tell you about the detail community. Right now, it is brand new. It's only been going on for a few months, so we are still in that founding member stage. So you can get a founding member rate and get your first 30 days for only $1. Then after that, it's only $27 a month. You never have to worry about it going up. So for joining, you're going to get access to a library of resources. It has a business class area to where you can see all of the strategy, systems, tools that it takes to grow or start a detailing business. It goes over sales strategies, SEO, Google My Business, marketing, social media, everything that's really going to push the needle forward and move the needle in your business. So you're also going to get access to exclusive podcast episodes that are only available to detail community members. You're also going to get access to a community forums area to where you can, get support from other detailers inside side, they're also really ambitious and looking to grow their business. So you can connect and grow with them and, you know, share support with them as they share support with you. It's a great place to hold each other accountable and just connect with really serious people that are looking to grow their business. We also do live events and live hangouts every month where we come together, share wins, share ideas, ask questions, and just talk all about detailing. And it's just another great way to connect with the other members inside of the community. You get access to all of that, plus so much more. I could go on and on talking about what's included in this. And there's so much more that is coming in the pipeline. You know, that's part of it. You becoming a founding member, you would get access to everything that's there now, and you get access to the evolution of this, things that are added in the future. This founding member rate of $27 a month is going to be going away really soon, and it's never going to be this low again. So you as a founding member can join today and get access to everything that's included now and access to everything that is added in the future. That's kind of the perk of it, is everything that's added to the library that would be a separate product, you're going to get access to that for being a founding member, and it's only $27 a month. So the best way to look at it is for what it would cost you for a bottle of all-purpose cleaner. You can get access to strategies and systems and just everything, like the accountability from this, and you know, all the knowledge that's inside this. If it gets you one client, that could pay for your membership for a whole year. You know, if there's one thing that maybe you overlooked, say you've been in business for years and you overlooked one of these strategies or tools that's taught inside here, and it just so happens to land you one lead or two leads, your membership's paid for a long time at $27 a month. So get access today, become a founding member before the price goes up, because it's never going to be this low again. So make sure to click the link in the show notes or click the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube, and go ahead and join and become a founding member of the detail community. I cannot wait to see you inside. I cannot wait to see your business grow, and I can't wait to connect with you more.
No, it's like I try to, you know, when you have people first starting out with you, I mean, the best thing to do is put them on a machine that's really not worth a whole lot of money. Because if it does break, I mean, it's easy to replace. Yeah. But at the same time, too, you got to think people who are coming into this industry and they buy the cheaper equipment, it's because they don't have the money for the expensive stuff yet. So say, for instance, you're right in the middle of a paint correction or a polish, and your machine goes down and you're on a deadline. Like, I just wish that they made these machines a little bit more durable for the people who are starting out, until they get to the point where, hey, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and make that. I'm gonna make that purchase. I'm gonna go out and buy that root so I can have something a little bit more reliable. Then you can take that little polisher and set it in the back, you know, just in case, you know, hey, you know, I don't feel like swapping out pads. I'll set this one up for my second step. Or I'm going to pass this down to another person whenever they start polishing or whatnot. Because I'm telling you, man, I still have that same that same electric Chicago I've had since I started detailing, doing paint corrections. I still have that bitch in my toolbox.
The gray and black,
red Chicago. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm not gonna lie to you, that is my go-to polisher.
Hey, for real though, yeah.
I know that thing can keep spinning and keep spinning, because like Roops is designed for Roops product. Yeah, if you use like a CCS pad or, you know, anything other than, like, even if you grab like an Adams pad or a Hex pad from Chemical Guys and you're using a root pad or a Roops, I feel like it gets hung up quite a bit. Like it'll stop moving. But I know that if I grab my little Chicago, it's going to keep running regardless.
Spinning everything.
Whatever pad you put on it, it's going to keep on moving. Yeah. And I respect the little thing because it was like $79 brand new. And I remember actually when I first started detailing, my dad bought me that polisher, so I'll never get rid of that polisher. Yeah. But that is my go-to polisher. And my wife gives.
Is it a jitter buffer?
No, it's just
it's a dual action.
Yeah, it's a dual action, but it little sumbitch will run. And my wife gives me shit about it because we've got millies, we've got LHRs, we've got we've got the minis, we've got the tiny little Ibers, we've got everything Roots in here. And she can look at me like, we spend all this money on all these great polishers and you're using a Chicago. Like, look, man, it's like I just know which one's gonna get the job done for me. Yeah. Like I'm telling you, like if you can learn on something like that and like a Dewalt high speed, you're doing good for yourself.
It makes you appreciate the better ones.
Tim Bradham Customs. Yeah. Shout out to Tim Bradham Customs in Fayetteville. Great guy. Yeah. Shout out Tim Bradham.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if I'm telling you, man, like the people who are just coming into the industry, especially if like you're buying stuff that that like it's a little out of your price range right now, but eventually you're going to get up to those higher level, products and whatnot. It does make buying those a lot more, you do appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah.
You get to the point where you're like, okay, I can finally get this Rupes. I can finally get this, high speed Dewalt. Like I can finally, get this and step my game up and start looking more professional. But honestly, at the same time too, man, I like to say it's kind of like guns, because like I got really into building guns for a while. It's shooter's preference. It's whatever works for you. If that sight you don't like that sight, but it's expensive, but you can go get an aim point and do great with it, then run what you like. It's what you're going to get the job done as efficiently, as professional as possible. So if you're 20 years in the game and you're still using a Chicago, hey, more power to you.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that you don't need the expensive stuff to get the job done. Like anybody, well, not anybody. I mean, you obviously need skill and practice, but anyone can grab a polisher and learn on, especially a DA. I mean, it's pretty idiot proof to tear up something.
Keep the backing plate spinning and you're good to go. Like,
exactly.
that's like the biggest advice is like, you can keep that backing plate from stalling, like tilt your pad until it reaches a point to where it's flat on the panel and where it doesn't stall, you're good on that. Like,
I try my best to teach my guys on how to use like the different kind of polishers. But when it comes to like say, like you're using a high speed, nobody ever really lays a high speed flat. That some bitch will jump all over the panel. Like you gotta have that certain technique
angled,
you're rolling it and you're being smooth with it. Like every once in a while, you might hit a little rough panel, but I mean, it happens.
You're like, oh, simmer down now, girl. Bring her back a little bit.
Take a break, man. I'll cut you off for a minute. Cool down. You're acting wild right now. But I've gotten to the point where like I'm like when I'm showing my guys how to use the rotary, like I'm literally running the rotary one-handed on an angle.
Let her walk.
Yeah, I'm just letting her do her thing, and then everyone else is like, "What the fuck? How is he doing that?" Like, I love it.
Yo, meanwhile, they're over there like,
yeah, they're all over the panel. It's the forearms, man. The forearms keep the polisher really still. Yeah. I eat my spinach.
Yo, and the beauty of it though is like using those old equipment, and like it's a double-edged sword because it's like, don't buy it if you can't afford it right off the rip.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they're so much cheaper, like use what you can afford, but obviously eventually upgrade as you go. But like, because when you do upgrade, it's almost like it gives you a little bit, like I always know for me, like 1 year, maybe my first year, I was using like a shit brand of polishes and a shit brand of, what I could afford essentially, like, wasn't making it. So, and then when you do start getting the business picks up, it's like, you then upgrade. So you get some more stuff in the mail and it just brings back that excitement because now you want to grind that much harder to get more vehicles in so that you can use this stuff that you got. Like, so it's almost like it gives you like a little bit more joy as well. Like as you upgrade.
It definitely gives you that feeling of progression.
Yes.
Like you're getting better. Like I've made money. I can spend that money now. I can get something better. I can get my skills a little bit higher using something that everybody else is using.
Yeah.
I love it when people do that. But at the same time too, though, I always seem to revert back to the stuff that I started. I know it so much better.
Because it still works.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it's tested. I've done it for so many years now to where I know it's going to work and I know the results I'm going to get out of it. Like a lot of people don't like Maguire's, like the M105, the 2. Shit,
that's the OG shit right there.
Some of my best stuff. What do you mean? Like, bro, Manzernas and Wolfgang polishes and Coach and Creme and all this stuff. Like, okay, yeah, those are cool.
Yeah,
they definitely, like, that's definitely the cool stuff on the market. But like, are you going high speed with some Meg's M105? know how to do that.
Yeah, yes.
No. Like,
bro, that brings back some memories, man. Because like you could go into AutoZone and like
slinging dust everywhere,
bro.
Everywhere.
Yeah, making a big mess. And honestly, like that stuff works. Like the M105, the M100, the M205, like those three, that combo kind of, those three work almost for every paint. It's a really durable mix, and it will take 2 to 3 steps, like sometimes with those, but like that was all they had, kind of like whenever like they were the OGs of it. Like those products you could go into AutoZone.
Look, in my opinion, Meguiar still makes some of the best products on the market. They're tested, it's tried and true, it's old stuff,
just reputable.
It's reputable stuff. You know you're going to get the job done with it. But it's like I think people just get too caught up in like the new stuff, in which you should be using new stuff. You should always have, you know, new polishers or like expensive stuff or this, that, or the other. Like you should use this rather than this. And that's when it all goes down to detailer's preference. Whatever you feel like using, whatever works for you, just because it works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Like if you got the skill to use, you know, Meguiar's to where, you know, you're like an old body shop guy who's just slinging fucking compound all over.
Put it on a pad like this.
Yeah. You're prime, just rubbing it in, just you got so much polish on your hand, you're like, oh, whatever, man. Like you're priming yourself at the same time, going fucking full tilt. Like, dude, okay, I respect those dudes, man. Like you're getting the job done. But it's like, you got some of the guys who are like they'll wear like a 3-piece suit to work, and like they're very proper with what they're doing, and it's very clean, and it's just the environment where you learned is what works for you. Like I respect everybody. Like if you got like the high dollar stuff, hey, more power to you. If you're running a Chicago and you're using Hex Pads from chemical guys, but you're still getting the job done, I respect it too. Like it's whatever.
No joke, them Hex Logic pads though, they're one of my favorites still.
I'm not hating on Hex Logic. Now look, I'm not a huge fan of chemical guys. I like
me neither.
Stuff.
Me neither.
Like some of their stuff is really good. Like their invisible interior cleaner is not bad. Their tire kicker tire shine is like one of my favorite products, because like once it dries, it doesn't it gives you like a really nice like matte finish on the tire, which in my opinion is like a nice look rather than it being like super wet. But I mean, chemical guy stuff, I mean, it works for some people.
It's just too expensive for professional grade, like
and then also like if you're running you're opening up like a full detail shop and you only have chemical guy stuff, at that point kind of like
you're spending too much. Like, and that's what I liked about their pads, was because their pads were actually like the same price as like where if you were to buy Lake and Country.
Their pads aren't terrible for like smaller shops. Like if you're just looking at pads just to get through them and just work, you know, real quick polish or like a quick cut polish, a Hex Logic pad is not bad. But like jumping up to like, you know, the Lake County pads and stuff like that, and all that other stuff. Country, Lake Country. Lake Country has TPS pads, the HDO pads, stuff like that. And they're good too. Like my wife, she says Hex pads are trash, but she is. I told you, she's a Roops fangirl.
Oh, you guys use Roops pads as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do. Well, not all the time, but we still have Roops pads.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, Roops runs best with Roops pads. They work really.
I mean, they design the pad. They probably design the pads to fit the backing plate, like with the weight and whatnot.
But like their bell pads are really nice. Their HDO pads are great. I love.
That's the is that Lake and Country HDO?
Yeah.
Is that Lake and Country? Yeah.
But it's like the real thick blue pad with like the gray up. Great pad. But like when you're first starting off with that pad, it's a little troublesome to work with because you got to break the pad in.
Yeah.
But
they're pretty firm.
Of course, you're going to prime a pad, but at the same time, once you get done with like 3-4 panels, that pad's pretty much broke into where it's softer now. Yeah. And you can work, because like a lot of the times, like I tend to go back to like the soft pads that like I can conform to like a body line or something like that, where you can get in like a corner. And that's pretty much what I love using. So like when she brought HDO pad, when we bought those, I was like, it's like a fucking brick, man. I'm like, but once they break in, it's like, all right, it gets a little softer. You work.
That's what makes them last longer too. That's the bad part about Hex Logic, is they almost get too soft too quick.
They gum up a lot.
Yeah, they gum up. Yeah.
Okay, they're garbage. We got you.
She's like,
she's in the background like, they're trash. Excellent. Not in this shop.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what, man. The Chemical Guys has a smell called tap. So it smells like a fresh beer, like a fresh poured beer.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that that's the coolest shit that Chemical Guys has.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get like when your friends bring their cars in, you miss a little bit of that in the car. It's like, say God forbid they get pulled over, like, you've been drinking? Smell no, man. My detailer put that in here. Detailer spilling beer on your carpets.
Yeah. It's like, I bet.
I bet. Would you just get done with a late night shift? You're going out drinking during the day, buddy?
Yeah. Actually, Chemical Guys is owned by Pep Boys or something, one of those brands like that. It's not Valvoline, but it's like Midas or Pep Boys or one of the that's crazy to me. I didn't know they were like that massive.
Yeah, Chemical Guys is huge.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I mean, if you like using their stuff, I mean, hey, more power to you. You can use it. But at
first, I think a lot of guys a lot of guys get the enjoyment of it because like it has that fun sense. It's definitely a DIY. Like, hey, if you don't own a detailing business, Chemical Guys is so fun and enjoyable. Like, but when you get on the professional side and when money comes into play, stop buying it. Like there's so much better products.
It's novelty stuff. I mean, honestly, it's like they got 8 different bottles for the same product.
Mm-hmm.
They'll change the color of it and tell you something. And it's just all white labeled type chemical and stuff like that.
So that is it for this episode of the Detail Spot podcast. Me and Eric cut up and just had a good time. It's always a lot of fun talking with him. He's kind of one of the OGs in this space, and it's cool to hear some of his stories. Hear how he runs his business overall. And so I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you really are enjoying the content that's coming from this channel, share it with a friend on social media so that they can get something from it as well. And it's going to help, get exposure for this channel so that we can grow and reach more detailers. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.